What's up, YouTube? My name is Dontavious Hill, three-time Team USA high jumper, five-time NCAA All-American, currently with a personal best of 7 feet 5 inches, and I have coached hundreds of high school high jumpers to PRs, state championship qualifications, school records, you name it. And today, guys, what I want to talk about is the takeoff spot, okay? And why a lot of times athletes their takeoff spots tends to differ. It goes here, sometimes it goes here, sometimes they take off this way, that way, they can't get into their spot, and they're always in a different area, and it doesn't ever really work out. Okay, and I'm just gonna get right into it. We don't waste no time. So number one is like measurement, right? So understanding where you are in the high jump measurement wise. Okay, so if you know where you are measurement wise, then you know like where you should always be. Okay, so one thing with a lot of high jumpers, from coaches coaching high jumpers or parents coaching high jumpers, they don't, so many high jumpers at the meet do not have a mark. I don't know if it's that they just don't care, or the coach just doesn't know how to get the mark, or they just don't tell them, or they just tell them to run it out. No, when you get your mark, you have to measure that mark, and it should be your same mark that you use in practice and that you use in the meets. No ifs and buts about it. Same mark in practice, same one in the meet, measured out the same way every time. When you do it the same way every time, that is a recipe for success in the high jump. Okay, so that is the first step toward making sure that your takeoff spot is going to remain consistent. Number two, number of steps. So I've seen athletes be able to measure out their approach or get their mark with the measuring tape, but that does not change the fact that they take as many steps as they want to take. My goodness. If you're going to measure your approach, like if you're just going to take however many steps you're going to take, there was almost no point in the measuring in the first place. I'm gonna say that again. If you're going to take however many steps, or you don't even know how many steps you take, there's almost no point in measuring. There's no point. It doesn't matter, because you butchered it. If you just go and run it, you butchered it, right? So what we want to do is, in the high jump, we want to know exactly how many steps we're taking on the straight and how many we're taking on the curve. I always recommend at least 5 steps on the curve. That is how I coach my athletes. That is how I have ran my approach my entire majority of my career, which has taken me from 4 feet 8 inches as a freshman in high school to 7 feet 5 inches now as a professional, running 5 steps on the curve, right? So whether you're running an 8 step, that would be 3 steps on the straight, 5 steps on the curve. You're running a 10 step, 5 steps on the straight, 5 steps on the curve, okay? You're running a 12 step, 7 steps on the straight, 5 steps on the curve is my recommendation, okay? So the number of steps that you take, that is the second task, and making sure that your approach is going to be in the right spot. So now that you have your measurement and you know exactly how many steps you're going to take based off of that measurement, you pretty much, those are 2 very important things that are going to help you in your takeoff spot, okay? So now we get to number 3. So the same thing we just talked about earlier, when athletes are going to do what they want to do and they just kind of run and butcher their approaches no matter what they measure, that's going to be based off of how well you run, right? So some athletes don't know how to run properly. I know that I was one of them when I was younger. I did not know how to run properly. So your running technique, your ability to pump your arms, and the ability to open your stride when you're running is going to be crucial in you getting to a takeoff spot. And the reason being is because, if you can imagine, let's say that you're a 10 stepper, but you want to do 10 steps in your approach and you're far back, but you take these really baby steps when you run, there's no way you're going to be able to get to the bar in 10 steps, right? Or let's say you want to do like 6 steps, or let's say you want to do or 10 steps, and you just take these really big strides and you get to the bar in 8 steps. There's no way you're going to be able to hit your mark consistently. So you have to find a balance and figure out your running technique. And you can do that by practicing the different sprint drills, right? When you're running, whenever you're warming up, doing accelerations, things like that, you should always be focusing on your technique. Don't ever just run to run. There is nothing that you should be doing just to do, right? Like, there's nothing that you should be doing just to do. Every time you do anything, it should always be with intent. It should always be with purpose, right? Like, for me personally, there's not much. Like, I work hard as a high jumper, but you'll never catch me doing pointless things. Like, I'm never just warming up to warm up. I'm never just doing an A skip just to do it. Everything that I'm doing is a part of what I need to do to perform at my best. And that is how you should think as an athlete when you're thinking about your running technique or anything that you do, right? And outside of running technique, you have your marks, right? So this is your start mark. When I got start mark back here, that is the furthest mark that you put back pretty much if you're coming from a standing start. If you're coming from a skip in, that is not, you'll basically have a skip in mark and then you'll have your so-called start mark. So you're going to technically have 2 marks, right? Technically going to have 2 marks, okay? So quick recap of making sure we get our takeoff spot correctly. Number 1, we want to make sure we measure properly. Number 2, we want to make sure we know exactly what number of steps we're going to take. Number 3, we want to make sure we have our running technique down. Number 4, we want to make sure we have a starting mark. All right, so let's take this a step further. So when it comes to measuring, right, a lot of people say, well, I just don't know my mark and I just don't do this. Well, number 1, the first thing you need to do is get you a tape measure, right? So if you're a parent or a coach or an athlete and you don't even have a tape measure to take the practice, you haven't even gotten a chance to experiment. So the first thing you need to do, get a tape measure. That's the first thing you need to do, right? First thing you need to do so you can figure it out, see what's happening in your approach and see how far back you need to be, test different marks and see what's happening, all right? So we can get our takeoff in the right location, right? We need to count our steps. So if you're an athlete who don't know how many steps they take, you need to try different variations. You need to come from a 6-step. You need to come from an 8-step. You need to come from a 10-step. See how they feel. Don't just go out and run and try to jump. Go and see how this feels. Go and see how the 8-step feels. Go and see how the 10-step feels. Shoot, if you want to, go ahead and try a 12-step if you want to, right? Count your steps, right? So now we got understanding our measurement, getting us a tape measure and testing some things out. Counting our steps, making sure we go to practice and test out these different distances, these different numbers of steps, making sure we're always doing 5 on the curve, okay? And then from that point, running technique, sprint drills. Lock in and focus on your sprint drills. Don't be out there just doing them just to do them. Don't be out there just walking through them just to walk through them. Do everything that you do with intent. Do everything that you do with intent. Right? Don't lollygag around. Attack the ground. Strike the ground with force. Do all of that. Okay? Sprint drills. And then we have our start mark. So we have our starting mark. So we need tape. Right? White tape or colorful tape. Whatever kind of tape that you have, you're going to need tape so that you can put the mark down. See how you are. See where you are coming from it. You're not in a good spot. You need to keep that tape there so you have a reference. Put another piece of tape down and keep putting pieces of tape down in different distances and different areas and see where you're most comfortable at. High jump is like ultimate experimentation. High jump is like being a scientist in the lab and trying to find that exact potion that worked for you. Find that exact formula that worked for you to get you jumping the highest bar that you can jump. Okay? So that's how that works, guys. So if you're a high school high jumper or you're the parent of a high school high jumper and you're tired of guessing with your training and you actually want to improve, whether that's to achieve and get success, jumping personal records, school records, state championship qualifications, you came to the right place. So if that's you, book a call me down below by applying for a free call, or we'll hop on and see where you are on your high jump journey right now, see where you want to get to. And if everything aligns, guys, we'll walk through the coaching process so I can show you guys what it looks like inside of the high jump blueprint. And you'll have that decision to make to walk forward and decide to actually make a change in your high jump journey, right? So like I said, guys, book a call with me by applying at the 60-second quiz down below, and we'll get you guys on the call so we can talk high jump and get y'all rolling. All right. Thank y'all for watching.